What were nobody will hire you.
I can do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good opportunity.
And you can't get rid of it.
Just get this out.
I've tried.
Thank you, Jesus.
I've tried to get rid of it, and I can't.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we're ready.
Welcome to the Monday meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. I think this is the first time I've said Monday in 2, 3, 4 years, but we're glad we've got a lot of folks out there in the meeting room. We're all here ready to do the business of the county, and I'll turn the meeting now over to our county manager, Dudley Watts.
Well, or our vice chair, Commissioner Martin would probably be better.
Commissioner Martin. I'll turn the meeting over to our vice chair, Don Martin.
Thank you very much, Chairman Plyler, and welcome to the organizational meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. And we're going to begin our meeting today with an invocation from Pastor Frank Robinson from Messiah Community Christian Church. It'll be followed by, come on up, Pastor. I appreciate him being here. And it'll be followed by a Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by Commissioner Wisenhunt. The floor is yours. Let's stand, please, if you're able.
Thank you on behalf of Messiah Community Christian Church. Let us pray. Mark 11:24 says, "Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Maker of heaven and earth, we first thank you that this day did not start without us. We thank you for good health and having the activity of our limbs. We thank you for life, health, and strength in these uncertain, trying, and even confusing times. We thank you for these leaders that serve the people of this great county. Let them be ever mindful of the honor to serve, that they will come into divine alignment for the needs of the people of this county and bless them to lead morally and ethically. And we ask that you will continue to cover this nation as you're calling us back to a place of prayer. Cover the state of North Carolina, as we need your direction to be unified, and cover this great city, Winston-Salem, as we make every effort to hear your voice in every decision, follow your direction, and allow leadership not to lose sight of where their help and strength comes from, for we are but stewards of your authority. As we near the close of another year, comfort those families that have suffered and lost loved ones, restore businesses that have fallen on hard times. Our prayer is to finish this year strong and be grateful of your blessings, knowing that we've done our very best to please you in every manner, effort, and deed. Motivate us now for a greater year in 2023. Now may your hand surround us and comfort us, and may your face shine upon us in approval. And may your goodness and mercy always follow us all the days of our lives as we strive to maintain, dwell, and find peace in your presence. This is our prayer, that we touch and agree, and there's power in agreement. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
To the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Robinson. The first item on the agenda today is the year-end review, and I'm going to actually deliver that today. 2022 has been an unusual year, and I'd like to say that our capable county manager, Dudley Watts, he reviewed all of our agendas for the previous year, and he identified 5 themes that characterized our work this year. And I've taken his notes and added a few comments, and I'm very happy to deliver this end of the 2022 end of the year report. The first overarching theme was uncertainty. Last January, there was uncertainty in how the pandemic would change over time and the extent to which vaccines would be accepted and how they would perform. This uncertainty was evident throughout the budget process. The county experienced inflationary pressures, supply chain impacts, and a difficult and uncertain labor market. Fortunately and strangely, the revenue side of the budget was strong, with all 3 of our sources of revenue, property taxes, sales taxes, and intergovernmental revenue. As a board, we were prudent with our expectations of revenue growth and left the countywide property tax rate unchanged at 67.78 cents per hundred valuation. A second theme surrounded governance. During the past year, the board worked extremely well together. We handled disagreements effectively and worked towards consensus and compromise during a difficult period. We started the year off with the adoption of procedural rules that impact how our meetings are conducted. This policy will be a guide for future boards and clarifies the values of inclusivity and transparency in our work. Early in the year, we reorganized the audit committee. Having our internal audit function report directly to the audit committee is a best practice and ensures clear lines of communication and financial accountability. During the year, we began the practice of meeting mid-morning every other month for the purpose of hearing periodic presentations and affording ourselves the time to have more involved conversation about complex and thorny issues. This has proven to be effective, and the proposed calendar for 2023 continues this practice. Perhaps the best examples of our working together in the governance area was in the transparent fashion that we handled our ARPA funding. Despite the delays associated with the final federal rules being issued, we established an open process for accepting proposals that would make a significant impact on the community. During this year, the board approved 2 rounds of funding for the $74 million we received in ARPA relief dollars, along with a strategy for ensuring that unspent funds are not reverted. The process was coordinated with other municipalities, the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, and the Community College. Over the next 2 years, we will monitor our progress and hopefully see some significant impacts in these investments. I would be remiss if I did not mention the increased number of hours that our county staff worked in both organizing and evaluating the ARPA grants. We hired only 1 person to assist at the beginning, and now we have a second person that will ensure that our quarterly reporting and grant auditing are accurate. A third theme was the importance of partnerships. In reviewing the actions taken by the board in 2022, it is clear that maintaining essential partnerships results in effective local government. Counties in particular are central to successful local government partnerships because of the overlapping nature of our jurisdictions and the responsibilities assigned by the state. We're fortunate to have long-standing partnerships with the K-12 and community college systems, our cities and towns, business leaders, our faith community, and nonprofit organizations. Some great examples of our partnership work in 2022 included the partnership with Winston-Salem and the adoption of the Cure Violence program, the consolidation of fire dispatch, and the leasing of space for the co-location of the city 911 and law enforcement dispatch. The community policing contracts that we have with the towns and the Drug Task Force have helped to keep our community safe, and the selection of the property near Tobaccoville as a site for the agricultural park serves as a good example of how we have worked with communities to put a future facility in a location where the community wants it. After listening to the Clemens community, the board moved the agricultural park to an area where a majority of the residents see the agricultural park as an asset. As a board, we made the decision to hire Mrs. Ashley Perkinson to represent us with our statewide legislative delegation. This proved to be strategic and fiscally advantageous. She helped advance partnerships with the state, particularly involving improvements in Smith Reynolds Airport, the Ballew's Lake Park project, and the expansion of a new behavioral health crisis beds in Forsyth County. Our strategic partnerships with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools were boosted this year with the efforts to co-locate the school's building maintenance functions and fleet service. This resulted from the domino effect that began after the sale of county property that housed the school district's maintenance and transportation services on Lansing Drive to Garner Foods. The partnership with the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools to boost teacher pay using the quarter-cent sales tax authorized in 2020 continued to generate strong revenues and resulted in additional funds for teacher supplements. Perhaps the best example of effective partnerships is the opportunity that ARPA created to fund enhanced partnerships with our nonprofit community. A fourth theme was developing our community and protecting its assets. Many of the actions taken by the board in our public meetings are efforts to build and protect the things we value. The board heard more than 20 planning items in 2022 related to rezoning property or considering text amendments that will change how our community grows and develops. In the discussions, we raised questions about the environmental impact of how water and sewer services will be provided across the county as we continue to grow. The board took action on 6 key economic development proposals brought to us by our partners in the economic development arena: Greater Winston-Salem, Inc., the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, City of Winston-Salem, and the Community College System. In addition, EDA grant funding of improvements at North State Aviation will ensure that these facilities continue to be fully utilized. And in addition, the state partnership provided more than $14 million for a large hangar expansion. Many of the actions taken by the board involved repairs and renovations to county buildings and facilities. Prudent life cycle management and continued maintenance has resulted in county facilities being in good condition. These include setting aside one-time funds for the maintenance of the detention center and the completion of the runway rehab project at Smith Reynolds Airport. And a fifth and final theme was taking care of our employees. Nothing happens in this organization without our employees. We are pleased to have more than 2,000 capable public servants that work to serve our more than 380,000 residents. As mentioned earlier, the labor market shifted dramatically during COVID and remains unsteady. During the year, the board took a number of actions to respond to the changing labor market, and these included increasing the county minimum wage mid-year and an associated 5% across-the-board pay adjustment, funding of performance pay adjustments and other benefits in the annual budget, conducting a countywide pay study that is nearing completion, contracting with private security to ensure safety in the detention center for staff and inmates, and approving a recruitment and retention bonus for detention staff. During the year, we grieved the loss of our longtime Chief Financial Officer, Paul Fulton, after his retirement in December and untimely passing in February. We also grieved the loss of our Emergency Services Director, Darren Ziegler, who passed unexpectedly in August. Looking to the future, Robert Louis Stevenson famously said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seed you plant." And as a board, we planted many seeds during 2022. And as we look to the next 12 months, we hope to see progress on the many ARPA-funded initiatives. The funding from the opioid settlement will hopefully begin impacting both our capacity for treatment of this scourge and will set into motion new prevention efforts. Our partners in the judicial branch will move into a new courthouse. Our partners at Callidium will move into a museum. We will break ground on a new park on Ballew's Lake. We will break ground on the terminal renovations at Smith Reynolds Airport and dedicate the new hangars that are under construction. We will break ground on the Highland Avenue improvements, and we will break ground on a new Tanglewood Park clubhouse. And in conclusion, I want to thank Chairman Plyler for his leadership and for allowing me to assist him throughout the year. And I want to thank each of the board members for his or her service and the outstanding manner in which we have collectively conduct ourselves as a board. Hopefully, we're moving beyond the pandemic and its many residual negative effects, and that the future remains bright. Thank you for your help, Mr. Manager. I'll turn the meeting over to you for the selection of chair and vice chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. And as you know, this is not my favorite thing to do, and it makes me very nervous. But I will hold a gavel for just a moment. And so I will.
Vice Chairman, if I may, before you do that, there was an email that was sent, and I just, for the public's record, if we could have Gordon just expound on that email relative to our votes today and another body of electeds, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Sure, I'd be happy to do so. The question was asked why this board is having its organizational meeting before the folks who were presumably elected actually take their oath of office. And the reason is because the state statute which governs this board, 153A-39, simply says this board shall elect a chairman and a vice chairman on the first Monday of December of even-numbered years, so that is today. There's no exception or ability to delay that vote. On the other hand, the Board of Education, the school board, is governed by a different statute, and that statute says that the Board of Education shall hold an organizational meeting to elect a chairman within 60 days after the newly elected board members are sworn in. So it's different from what governs this board. And so they, as I understand it, are not holding their organizational meeting until their folks are sworn in as they're required to do so. So we just have different statutes that we operate under.
Thank you, Gordon. I appreciate the public education.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, so item 2 is election of chairman. The floor is open for nominations for chairman of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners.
I'd like to make a nomination, please. Before my nomination, can I make a comment, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair and Deadline? I call our board the Magnificent Seven for a reason, because even though we disagree on some matters, we'll always come to some kind of conclusion to agree to disagree amicably when that happens. And so I'm proud to be a part of this board, and I've learned a lot from each other. Every board member has a unique contribution to the final decision, and we don't ignore each other. We actually work together with each other, and we grit our teeth, bite our tongue, but we come to a consensus eventually. With that said, I hope going forward that the board will consider whoever gets this position of being elected by the whole population of Forsyth has some kind of leadership position going forward. And I hope we cross the party lines at one point to not just look at party leadership, but look at the best leadership on the board. With that said, in my commentary, I want to nominate Don Martin as chairman for the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners.
All right. Are there other names to be submitted for nomination?
I will second the nomination.
Okay, so I think we need a motion to close the nomination and elect Commissioner Martin as chair by acclamation.
Move to do what you just said.
All right, motion and a second.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Elamine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The gavel is yours back.
Well, thank you very much, and I really appreciate the confidence that all of you have placed in me to serve as your chair for next year. And I do want to take this opportunity to thank Dave Plyler for his tremendous service as chairman for the last 8 years. And in fact, a few years beyond that, maybe another 2 or 3 on top of that. And Dave,
Very much.
And Dave, I also want to say that you're a good friend, and I certainly have learned a lot from you. And although I don't have your broadcaster's voice or your memory for the words of old songs, I certainly hope that I'll be able to lead our meetings smoothly and hopefully represent this board well in the community. And I also want to say that it's really great to know that I have the opportunity to ask advice from not just one former chairman, but we have 2 former chairmen that actually are still sitting on this board. Both Commissioner, not only Commissioner Plyler, but Commissioner Wizenhunt and Commissioner Linville have served as chairman. And the last thing I'm going to say is that I promise to brush up on my Robert's Rules of Order. So, thank you. Dave, anything you want to say?
Well, I was thinking about, let's see, the name, I got to make sure I get it right. Terry Teresa Elizabeth Morazak Peluso, and she's sitting back here in the back. And she ran for county commission. She wanted to be on this board, and for whatever reason, the voters of Forsyth County decided to make it a close race, but they suggested maybe she could run the next time around, so that would be good. But I've had, one of the problems I've had as an older person, that's the best way to put it, is I've had some eye problems here in the last year. And by the way, I'm on this county insurance policy. So when I had 2 cataracts removed from my right and my left eye, that was a $25,000 a piece project. Then they said, we're going to stick a needle in your eye. I said, oh, okay, I can handle that for one eye. They said, well, it's one eye, but we're going to do it 7 times. So they did that, and now we're up to, at $6,000 a throw, so now we're up to $42,000 plus 50 is $92,000. And I still can't see. So the reason I brought Terry into this is we've talked about those trips that you have to the eye doctor. And he says, well, Mr. Plyler, you've got to understand, you have something called macular degeneration. I says, what does that mean? He says, do you know what the definition of degeneration is? I says, I think I do. He says, we don't make glasses that'll fit your eyes. So shortly after that, Terry Morazak Peluso picked me up and I said, Terry, you really look nice today. She says, you can't see. That's one of the disadvantages to not being able to see. But I've had a wonderful time on this board. I will continue to have a wonderful time. There's not anybody on this board I don't like and I don't feel close to. And this board has worked for the people of Forsyth County without fail. And we don't argue, we don't get mad at each other and stay mad, but we do disagree, and sometimes we agree to disagree. And I really think that one of the things that I spent 40 plus years in radio and television, and I used to wonder, I wonder what I'll be doing when the time comes. Well, the time came several years ago in 1990, and I decided to run for county commissioner. It's been a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful career change, completely. And I may not be able to see well out of my eyes, but I can certainly feel the love and the warmth that I get, not only from the commissioners, but we have one heck of a staff. And
Amen.
yeah, oh my gosh. And one of the things, one of the ladies, when I first met her, she was replacing Jane Cole. Remember Jane? I thought no one can replace Jane. Well, Ashley Sloop did. So when you get right down to it, I have no complaints at all. I just thank the good Lord for what he's done for me.
Thank you, Dave. All righty. Now is there a motion for vice chairman?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion, please, for vice chair. I consider her a friend who told me early on that she liked me. And I told her she's brutally honest. And I could always rely on her for being honest with me. Though we may disagree, at least I know where she stands. So I'd like to submit for nomination Commissioner Gloria Winston-Hunt as vice chair.
And I'll second that. And do we have any other nominations?
Move the nomination be closed and accepted by acclamation.
All right.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Thank
Any
you all.
opposed?
I appreciate it so much. I appreciate your vote and your confidence, and I'll just go ahead and make my end-of-the-year comments, if that's okay. Congratulations, Don, and I look forward to working with you as a team, and I do believe we'll be a team to guide this board. And thank you all again for choosing me. Dave, thank you. Thank you for your years of being a chair. It's not an easy job. I can attest to that. So, but we appreciate you so very, very much. And I said a few weeks ago I was not going to say goodbye to Fleming yet, and now I don't have to. Fleming, I don't know when I'll say goodbye to you, but at the right time I will. And also you, Ted, I'm going to miss both of you. Truly, you have unique personalities, and I'm going to miss you. And Fleming, I do like you very much. I've told you that many times, and I love your wife. And you have such a beautiful family. I mean, last week you had two of your daughters here, and you have a beautiful family. And so do you, Ted. You are a lucky man. But anyway, it's so difficult to say thank you every year to the staff, because I feel like I say the same thing every year. But we have such an outstanding staff. We have such an outstanding 2,000 employees. Forsyth County is a lucky county, and I try to tell folks out in the grocery store and church and whatnot how lucky they are that they have the employees who look after our citizens so very, very well. We have many services that we provide, and Forsyth County does it in an expert way. And our staff here on the 5th floor, you all are amazing. And I tell you that every year, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You all are great, and we're so lucky to have you. And it's good to have Ed McNeil with us now. Welcome. We're happy you're here. And so thank you all very much. I feel like, as I said, I say the same thing every year, but I want to reiterate what a great, great place Forsyth County is to live. And thank you all again for the honor of electing me as vice chair.
All righty. Well, we have several items on our agenda today, and I'm going to turn those business items over to the county manager to lead us through them.
They are fairly straightforward, and you see them every organizational meeting. The first one is resolution renewing and updating bonds for various Forsyth County officials. You'll see the list there, but basically North Carolina General Statute Chapter 58, Article 72 requires that the bonds of Forsyth County Sheriff, Register of Deeds, Chief Financial Officer, and every other officer of Forsyth County who is required to have effective performance bond for their duties to be examined by the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners on the first meeting of December every year. And so the county's risk manager has looked at those, and for these, I believe there are five distinct bonds, and then there's a public employee blanket bond that has been reviewed and is submitted for your consideration.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kaplan, second by Commissioner Plyler. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
All right, and then the second and final item is a resolution adopting the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners meeting schedule for 2023. You'll see that takes us all the way through the end of December 2023. We have tried to align it in much the same way as our current schedule is. We have kept the bi-monthly morning discussion sessions that would start at 10 a.m. In the calendar. We have accommodated the three conferences that traditionally we schedule around, which is the NACO Legislative Conference in February, the July NACO Annual Conference, and then the NCACC Annual Conference in Wake County in August. And so we've gotten those. This calendar, if you adopt it, would have us finishing out our budget and perhaps adopting it on June 8th at a special meeting. Obviously, you have till June 30th to adopt that budget. But other than that, we have tried to keep the schedule. You'll notice as you go through, we were less strict about that fifth Thursday, and we actually scheduled some meetings on fifth Thursdays where it prevented us from having having 2 weeks before the introduction of the items and then the adoption. And so we paid a little bit less attention to that, but other than that, it pretty much mimics our current schedule.
Good. Is there a motion?
So move approval of the proposed calendar.
By
Second.
Commissioner Plaller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Elamine. Any discussion?
Yes, Chairman, yes. I don't have a problem with the schedule. I just want us, for the record, to remember in the future that we will have fairness and inclusivity in terms of once or twice a year having meetings so that other people can attend in the afternoon. So I just wanted to make that a matter of record and comment. Thank you.
We'll work on that.
Thank
Any
you.
other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to ask, after the vote, to ask our clerk if she would share this calendar with soon-to-be Commissioner Bessie and soon-to-be Commissioner Woodbury, so that they can have our schedule for their calendars.
It's good. We're ready to vote now. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And last, we have other commissioner comments, and appreciate Commissioner Wizenhut's comments already, and I've said quite a bit today, and I certainly look forward to working with her and all of you. The rest of you, an opportunity to have sort of the last words, if you will, so we can, doesn't matter who goes first, if somebody can just jump in, and everybody will get a turn.
Go ahead, Theo.
I did mine, Thursday? I think I'm done here, but thanks to the staff and Chairman Plyler and Chairman Martin and Vice Chairman Wizenhut and my old tractor buddy, Richard over there. We've had a long, prosperous time together, and I hope it continues. Tanya, you're going to be in charge. I'm in charge. You're in charge. You're going to be the senior Democrat on the board, so you're in charge. So let me say thank you again to particularly staff, Dudley and Damon, Chantel and the crowd. It's been great. Thank you.
Well, I'll jump in. The main thing I'm really happy about the accomplishments of this board, and I'm not taking personal gratification for any of it, but we are about to open a brand-new courthouse. It's right next door to this building. And when I came to Winston-Salem back in 1958, the courthouse that we did call it a courthouse now, is now a condominium right across the street. And then shortly thereafter, we built one, which is still in operation. But I asked Ted one day, I said, what are we going to do with the old courthouse? And Ted said, turn it into a grocery store. I said, you're not serious. He said, I certainly am. We're going to have to build new parking, though, so they can all come and shop there. It served its purpose and did a wonderful job. And a couple of other things that I'm really pleased with from a personal point of view is we've done what we needed to do with all of the libraries in Forsyth County, including a new one in Clemens, a fine refurbished library in Winston-Salem, at Kernersville. It just kind of, Walkertown goes on, but that's something that needed to be done, and it was done by this board, and I know the citizens have just been highly complimentary about it, and I think it'll serve the purposes. And finally, I think, we've gone through a pandemic period, and I think we came through it very well. But we couldn't have done it without the Forsyth County Public Health Department and their staff, and the contributions of Novant, or as Jerry Long used to say, Novant, because he's from New York. But in fact, he even called himself Joey. He can't pronounce R, so. But Novant has been wonderful when it comes to Forsyth Medical Center and taking care of the medical needs and cooperating with the Public Health Department. And I think we're very fortunate to have people like that in this community who care enough to give everybody the very best. Thank you.
You, Dave.
I'm next. So I wrote a few things, and thank you very much. Now our elected chairman, Don Martin, and congratulations to you, Gloria, as well.
Thank you.
I sincerely will definitely miss my two colleagues as well. So I wanted to say that there's more to connect us than there is to divide us. And this year has been very exhaustive. It could have been because of the hard work in the primary and general elections, the grieving of the loss of our staff, and I'm going to miss my Democratic colleagues as well. However, I'm elated with the work that we've done here in District A, and I wanted to thank the Forsyth County Commissioners for dreaming alongside me while we were investing $17.9 million in the Health and Human Services campus. Of that, $1.4 million of those county funds went to renovate the indoors of the social services and health buildings. Our auditorium that's coming at $437,000. And the Highland Avenue Center, also with the renovations of the $1.9 million for mental health and substance abuse services. The facilities crisis bed operation, which yielded $12.9 million in the state allocation ARPA funding to enhance the crisis services and the facilities-based crisis on Highland Avenue. And lastly, the community park and outreach. So I also wanted to thank overall the staff and the captains of this campus, our county manager Dudley Watts, assistant deputy manager Chantel Robinson, and Damian Sanders Pratt as well, concluding that Forsyth will be a county that is inclusive of us all, and I'm grateful to be of service. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Mr. Chairman, I've tried to work the best I can, and have enjoyed doing so with this board, and I have tried to do that in the years past with other board members. Sometime I'm going to sit down and all of the board members I've served with, and I thought of it the other day, but I didn't do it. I will sometime. I made an error in judgment this year, here. And I've made, no telling how many I've made on the farm, but I've made one here. That one day something was going on, Mr. Kaplan came in and something come up that I didn't know was coming up. Well, the error in judgment was I scolded Mr. Kaplan. But Mr. Kaplan, I thought later, well, he is used to that because he was in the legislature, and that's probably nothing unusual down there. But I hope he's forgiven me for that. He seemed like he has. But that is the error in judgment is just, you don't need to do something like that because you might need somebody to vote in your favor sometime, and they got something in the back of their mind that might not. So I've always tried to use the thought of persuasion when, you just had to go that extra to get somebody to vote for something that maybe they didn't really want to, but might if you were nice to them. But some people think, and you know this too, Ted, Mr. Kaplan, that they think politicians need to, just kind of be angry at one another. Well, we can look at Washington and see that that's plenty of that goes on, so don't need to do it on a local level or the state if we can help it. I'd like to thank the manager and his staff for giving us all the best information that they have for us to make the best decisions that we can, and to Ashley for helping look after the manager and keeping all of the things going smoothly. So thank everybody, and it's been pointed out by the chairman of all of the things that's been going on this year. And Dave, thank you for your service this year and the past years that you've been the chairman as well. So thank everybody. There'll be challenges ahead.
Yeah, there will be.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I'll try to take 35 seconds. First, I want to thank Dave Plyler. I consider him a friend, a colleague, and a mentor. I used to be on WAIR and WAA, and I was the voice of the jazz program, Music for the Mind, Body, and Souls on WAAA. So we had a connection with the radio, history background, and we just connected with each other. And I genuinely appreciate and thank you for your leadership. All that was stated earlier about Chairman was consideredly the result of your leadership. And I'm going to end with this. I've studied leadership for a long time, and there are basically two types of leaders. You can be a transformational leader or a transactional leader, based on most of the literature. Dave Plowler is more of a transformational leader in his leadership style. Dudley Watts is more of a transformational leader in his management style. And that means you try to get the best out of people from their own internal clock. Not because you're going to do something for them, because you see the value in them individually. Dave has that kind of aura. And it takes a while to get to that point, to see the need to be transformational in your thinking process about other people. And it just boils down to seeing the value in other human beings equal to the value you see in yourself. So on this board, I've experienced that for the last 5 years. I told myself I would not say much today because I might be here a week or so longer. Okay. But I'll make a final comment then. But I want to thank every board member. Commissioner Linville, I met him when he used to wear suspenders at the old courthouse. When I was sitting in the audience, no one knew I had any idea running because Mays hadn't given me the green light yet. And I said, this man has the audacity and the self-confidence to come into a meeting with suspenders on, like he just came off his tractor. And Mays Williams said, Fleming, if you want to work with somebody that's honest, work with Richard Linville. You may have to go to his farm to get his attention, but if you work with him, he's an honest man. And I congratulate my colleague, Tanya McDaniel, on her success, and I look for great things to come from her. Superintendent Don Martin and I had some moments and we disagreed in his leadership, but I respect him as a leader. He has a lot to this body, and he's been a proven leader for many years in this community. Ted Kaplan and I are Abrahamic brothers, and we love each other on one level. And my friend to my left, Gloria Whisenhunt, as I said earlier, I think the first time I met her, I kissed her on the left side of her cheek, and she said, ooh, I think I like this one. But I will really miss her. We've been friends. It's one thing to be on a board and just have a relationship. It's another to develop into friendships. And on this board, that's what we've done. And I think the counter for Forsyth sees that. We have to be micro and macro at the same time. Micro to represent the people who voted for us, but macro to see the big picture. All 380,000 residents of Forsyth County. So again, I thank you for the opportunity. Godspeed, and I look for good things to come out of this board.
Anything else for the good of the order? Well, thank everyone for a very pleasant meeting, and I guess we'll get back to business on Thursday. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Here we go.